The rain hadn't stopped for hours. It tapped against the windows like a lullaby she couldn't fall asleep to. The city was drowning in its own tears, and so was she, only her tears had dried long before she even made it to his apartment. She had shown up without a word, soaked, shivering, eyes hollow. And he didn't ask her anything, at least, not at first. Taehyung had always been gentle with her, a softness she didn't know she deserved. But tonight, he was stiller than usual, watching her as she sat curled up on the edge of the couch like she was trying to disappear into the fabric. She hadn't told him where she came from, what happened, or who had broken her spirit enough to make her flinch at shadows. But he had his suspicions. And Taehyung never let things slide when it came to her. He returned from the kitchen with a warm towel and a hoodie that still carried the scent of him, sandalwood and something faintly sweet. He held them out to her wordlessly, kneeling beside her. "Go change," he said softly. "You'll get sick." She nodded. That was the first response he'd gotten from her in over an hour. She returned 10 minutes later in his hoodie, hair damp and face freshly washed, but her eyes still haunted. And that's when he reached for her. She flinched when he raised his hand. His heart broke. His heart broke. But all he did was gently brush her hair back, tucking it behind her ear like he'd done 100 times before. His chest tightened with something heavy, something he hadn't let surface in a long time. "Who hurt you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, like he was afraid the wrong tone might shatter her completely. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. He didn't press. But he stood there in the quiet of his living room, eyes darker than storm clouds. And in that silence, he made a vow, not to her, but to himself. They wouldn't be breathing by morning. The apartment was quiet, save for the soft ticking of the clock and the distant hum of traffic. She was asleep, finally. Wrapped in one of his sweatshirts, curled into his bed like a worn-out ghost. Taehyung stood by the window, arms folded, face unreadable. But his heart wasn't calm. It was a storm. He had felt anger before. Real rage. But nothing compared to the ache that hit him when she flinched from his hand, when all he wanted to do was brush her hair back. It wasn't just fear in her eyes. It was history. Something, or someone, had broken her spirit, and now she flinched like pain was her instinct. And that shattered him. He pulled out his phone. No hesitation. 3 names. 1 address. A list of evidence he shouldn't have been able to access, but did. Taehyung wasn't the type to talk big. He was the type to move in silence, and destroy loudly. She never heard the front door open that night. And she never knew what he did before sunrise. It had started a month ago. The new job. The manager with too many stairs and too few boundaries. The hands that lingered too long. The fake jokes in front of coworkers. The cruel laugh when she finally told him no. She wanted to fight back, but the world had a way of making girls like her feel small. And alone. She kept quiet. Until she couldn't anymore. And the bruise on her cheek that night was the last straw. The next morning, chaos bloomed in places she once feared. The manager's dark past, his hidden messages, and private recordings, all leaked. Fired. Blacklisted. Screamed at by news reporters and strangers alike. His car vandalized. His door spray-painted with just 2 words. Still breathing? The 2 laughing co-workers. One received a thick envelope with printed photos and timestamps. His girlfriend dumped him. His family disowned him. The other found a single USB on his pillow. He confessed to HR before even checking what was inside. Taehyung never spoke of it. But when Y/N saw the headlines, she knew. He kept his promise. But Taehyung didn't just want to protect her. He wanted to build her. Piece by piece. "You're not weak," he told her one morning. "You're just holding back because the world taught you fear. But I see the fire. Let me help you feed it." And he did. They trained together. Talked. Cried. Laughed. He pushed her when she doubted herself, and stood behind her when she finally stood tall. She walked into the same office that once broke her, head high, heels clicking like war drums. This time, she wasn't there to hide. She was there to resign, in person. Not quietly. Not politely. When the new manager nervously greeted her, Y/N smiled sweetly. "You can keep the chair. I don't need to sit anymore." As she walked out, Taehyung was waiting by his car, arms crossed, smile proud. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. She slid into the passenger seat, eyes sparkling. "Still scared?" he asked, teasing. She smirked. "Not anymore."
눈가는 수저 여러 배, 바로 배, 발가락은 금 수저 여러 배, 멀어 배, 땀 어디든 너들 새끼 여러 개, 너도 별 씹어주겠다. 에이, 너도 별